I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your cattle market summary for the week ending May the 24th, where bullishness abounds. You might have to search for it, but it's there on the surface, and it's down dug in the market a ways. We're going to talk about it. Cattle on feed report was very bullish on Friday, and then we've had this long weekend to soak it in. Surely we'll see something on the board to help give us a little more of a clear view that maybe we have got some footing here and can gain a little ground, at least on the board. But very, very supportive numbers coming in on cattle on feed in comparison to what your estimates were. We finally got a little bit of support on this fake meat deal with a very popular fast food restaurant declaring that they will never use it. That's a good thing. I tell you what, we need to get more of that kind of thing going, because right now your fund managers, they're thinking that's kind of trendy too, this fake meat deal. And we rely on your funds, your managed money, so much to go long your cattle market on the futures, and we need that. Everybody in the industry is hedging against it and down on it, and we need some outside industry people to go along the board and take those positions, and for them to respond whenever we have bullish news like this cattle on feed report and things. But your cash feeder cattle market, a lot better. Just been light receipts around for 2 or 3 weeks. You know, we've had so much weather. I know the weather's miserable. A lot of places we've had so much flooding, a lot of tornadoes, things like that. It's been tough, but you know, when we have bad weather, that's another bullish sign. But when we started seeing some cattle that are very attractive showing up in a lot of these sale barns, then we see the natural demand coming in after some of your feedlots had some empty pens coming open. They came back into the market. We come to another wave of grazers, backgrounders that were ready to, their grass had greened up and had some length to it, and they were ready to turn out. And we saw just that natural supply and demand of cash feeder cattle. We saw the cash feeder cattle prices go up big time. That was very bullish. And even on your fats, even though our market was a little bit lower last week, some of your latest sales late in the week were not as much lower as they were earlier in the week, and you have to call that bullish too. But let's look at the board for last week. June live cattle futures. Monday was up 7 cents, Tuesday down 50, Wednesday down 20, Thursday up 15, and Friday up 37. Not a whole lot going on your live cattle spot market on June, but ended at 111.17. That was down just 10 cents for the week. August ended at 107.95. That was down 97 cents for the week. Hopefully we can see those pick up a little bit this week on a short week. August feeder cattle down 72 cents on Monday. Tuesday was down $1.77. Wednesday down 40 cents, Thursday up 42, and Friday up 20 cents, with August feeder cattle ending the week at 143.22, down 228 for the week. September ended the week at 143.87. Another positive thing is we got rid of your May feeder cattle spot market on the board, which was 136.81. It just didn't look good out there sitting in your mid 130s when every other traded months was in the 140s. So we've got rid of the May. It went off the board at 136.81. Good place to get rid of it. Fat cattle market, 82,200 head through Thursday. So we don't know how it happened. May have been a little bit more cleanup on Friday. Your Northern Plains traded later in the week, just $1 to $2 lower at 116 on a live basis. Your Southern Plains traded earlier in the week, 2 to 3 lower, 114 to 115. Your 114 was reserved for Kansas. Texas was mostly all at 115. Your weighted average on live steers through Thursday in your 5-area feeding region, 115.79. Dress market, mostly in the Northern Plains, of course, steady to $1 lower only. So that's not a big loss there. 185 to 186 dress for the most part, but there was some off-market sellers too, because you saw your dress steer 5-area weighted average price at 184.71. Box beef cutout values A little bit uneven for the week on your average of the week's trade, but not falling anymore. So your average trade for choice cuts 220.64. That was up actually 41 cents higher than the average from the previous week. Selects was down $1.33 on your average trade last week at 207.08. Got a choice select spread of $13.56 and a lighter week's just averaged a lighter week's trade of 638 loads. Cuts, grinds, and trimmings, but we're not seeing near as much product move on the spot market as we are for out front sales, also in your dress meat market, which is also in your cattle. But your slaughter for the week, kind of disappointing. 641,000. That's 19,000 less than the previous week, which was close to a record for this year, and 10,000 less than the same week a year ago. And we're going to have a holiday week this week because all your plants will be closed on Monday, so we're falling off a little bit. Cattle on feed report, something positive. Come out. We haven't paid a lot of attention to your cattle on feed reports, but this one fairly well publicized because we knew that your April placements were going to be huge. But May 1st inventories, the average of the analyst guess is at 102.9. Your actuals actually come in at 102.2. So that's enough to make a full percentage point when you round them, and that's good because it was lighter. But then your placements is where all the difference was made. Your average of the analyst guess of April placements, cattle going on to feed, at 113.5% of the same time a year ago, and they come in at only 108.7. Very bullish. So that should help. Our out front fat cattle board, we'll see. It should just give the whole market a little bit of shot in the arm here. We need one pretty bad. Your marketings are also positive. Your estimates were 106.6 and actuals come in at 106.9. But placements was where it was all about. We knew your placements were going to be bigger. You look at your placements in your 5-area feeding region. Nebraska was 4%. Your April placements were 4% more than a year ago. Iowa was 6% more. Texas 8% more. Kansas 14% more than the same time a year ago. And Colorado was 17% more. But still, it did come out to only 108.7 altogether, and it was a lot lighter than what they had guessed. Talked about your fake meat deal with we had Arby's coming in. You know, they're famous for the roast beef sandwiches. They're famous for their motto now, which is "We have the meats." And they come out strongly and said that they will never offer fake meat in their restaurants. The exact quote that they put out in the press release was, "The chances that we will bring plant-based menu items now or in the future are absolutely impossible." I'm not sure if that impossible was a pun, but I took it as one because we have the impossible meats in some of these other fast food restaurants. But what should we do there? We should support Arby's. Arby's has all kinds of real meats in there. They even offer some lamb in some of their sandwiches or their gyros there. But they have all kinds of real meats in there. I don't understand why we don't use checkoff dollars and partner with some of these restaurants that vow to only use real beef whenever they're making their hamburgers or sandwiches. And you know, we could throw them some money and maybe have them change that motto from "we have the meats" to "we have the real meats." Make it a trendy thing for people that want to eat real meat, and then they know that it's safer and actually healthier, and it has the enzymes and the amino acids that you need, where the fake stuff does not. But that's an opportunity for us to do something that's going to be well embraced by the press, by society, things like that. But we really need to give them some positive feedback from that, and that's what little we can do to offset this big push we've seen from fake meat. But look at your feeder cattle market. Your real-time index. Now, we've seen these index levels change big time late last week on your feeder cattle. Real-time index Monday night sitting at 141.87. Now that's up $9.95 compared to the index at the end of last weekend. So you think, how in the world does that happen? Well, we've had real light receipts. It's been so wet around, not as many cattle moving, not as many heavier cattle moving. Where we do see cattle, we're seeing lighter weights move. And then we had that sale at Mocan Livestock Market in Butler, Missouri that we talked about late last week. When you've got light receipts at lower prices, and then all of a sudden you have a sale, a special sale last Thursday at Mocan Livestock, and they sell nearly 1,000 steers light on the index weight, and they're $20 too high, or $20 higher than anything we've been seeing. It'll move it, guys. It moved your CME cash feeder cattle index in just that one day. It moved at $3.11. So that's big time. The thing that your CME index has that your real-time index does not have is every Friday they dump droves of unvalidated direct sales in there, and those are usually just at a very kind of at the market or just below. A lot of just commodity cattle in those, and that always keeps it watered down quite a bit. Your real-time index also included your big special on Monday at Russell, Iowa, where they had nearly 6,000 head of feeder cattle, and that was another big one too. So we should see your CME index come up a little bit. It wasn't out for Friday yet. It's always lagging some behind. Once it comes out and includes the Monday information, it will be up big time again, even though we didn't have as many of those cattle like you did at Mocan dumped in there, but you did have several cattle in there selling at a lot higher prices than what we've seen around. And like I said, we've had such light receipts. But in your feeder cattle auctions for last week, your prices were better. Monday started off kind of down again, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, those sales come up quite a bit. And as a whole, your cash feeder cattle market in your auctions $3 to $5 higher. You look at Russell, Iowa. This is a Monday special, Memorial Day special, around 6,000 head of feeder cattle. You look at this Cattle Market Central market report. You see the breakdown of them on your well-tested weights on 5-weight steers. 1,039 head of steer calves, average 550 pounds at 171.39. That's a lot better than we've seen for a while. 750 head of 6 weights, average 638 at 161.36. And now for those index cattle, not as many, but still good price. 194 head of 7-weight steers, average 739 at 145.81, and 259 head of 8-weight steers, averaged 833 at 144.62. That's a lot better than what we'd seen there for the last 2 or 3 weeks. Included in those were all these load lots that you can pull and take a look at on Cattle Market Central. I like to see the individual quotes on your loads of cattle or bigger. And if you look on here, included in there, these 2 stick-out loads that I saw, 55 head of steers weighed 957 for an individual quote at 129. Be 10 or 12 bucks higher than we'd seen on big 9-weight cattle here before that. And 67 head of 615-pound stocker steers at 175. That's a look at your week's markets from a home DV auction office here in Canyon, Texas. We'll talk to you next week.